welcome back. Today we're going to be going over what is intuitive movement, how does it apply as a valuable method for those of us that deal with chronic pain, and I want to rephrase that, for those of us that manage chronic pain, and how does it apply to our practice of embodiment? How do we as embodied individuals implement an intuitive practice while still hitting the goals that we have? So to begin, I want to go over exactly what intuitive movement is, right? I want to begin with the definition of intuition, right? So our intuition is the faculty of knowing something without having any reason or proof of knowing that thing, right? Our intuition lives in our gut, right? It lives in our heart. It lives in our mind. It lives in our body. So right then and there, we know that intuitive movement is the practice of an embodied mover, of an embodied individual, of an embodied athlete, right? Intuitive movement, thus, is, in my mind, a rebellious act or a radical act of intuiting what kind of movement your body needs that day. And the more that you get good at that intuiting, the more you're able to prepare or to predict, what you're going to need, what your body's going to need, what your body's going to want, and when it's okay to push through and when it's highly important to pump the brakes, right? So the intuitive movement method that I coach my clients in is the method of showing up every single day and checking in, right? It's this radical act of presence, radical presence, radical transparency within yourself for what it is, what your capacity is that day, right? Some of the greatest coaches talk about this all the time. I've heard some really amazing climbing coaches talk about it, and climbing is the sport that I do, so I really thought that this was amazing to hear from them because so many climbers fall into the pigeonhole of, I've got to train every single day, I've got a hangboard, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, blah, 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 right? And that's the general way of the world. Crazy. Like hustle culture is exactly that, right? It's that we have to hit our markers, we have a goal to hit, we've got these things that need to get done, and this is how they're going to get done, and it doesn't matter if we need a break. Well, I'm here to tell you that does matter because we do need a break, and rest is crucial to our performance. Rest is crucial to our pain, and our bodies communicate that to us well before our minds are ever going to tell us that it's time to rest. So this is why intuitive movement is so important for people that are in their embodiment practice, that are on their embodiment journey, that deal with chronic pain. This practice of intuitive movement can look like so many different things, okay? And I want to be clear that just because you're practicing intuitive movement doesn't mean that you're not following a regimen, okay? Like I said, part of it is that you still have to show up. You still have to check in. What it means is that if today is an arm day and tomorrow's a rest day, but you show up to the gym today and you say, you look at those weights and you check in with your arms, you're like, absolutely not, right? Maybe that becomes a day of stretching or of meditation or of breath work or of all three of those things, right? Maybe you take the time to roll out and then take your rest day to hit arms. See, so one of the principles of intuitive movement is flexibility, which is really important in day-to-day life. We need to be able to roll with the punches, right? And sometimes that even looks like, maybe we don't have the flexibility within our schedule to take a rest day and use a rest day elsewhere, right? To take a rest day and then to utilize that rest day for activity. Maybe there's no space for that. Maybe your part of your job is to be physically present every single day, right? Using your body. Okay. Another principle of intuitive movement would be to then have the tools that are necessary within your toolbox so that when you show up for that day and you're exhausted and you're tired and you still need to do the thing, you still need to climb the mountain, you know what needs to be done in order to climb the mountain. For example, just this morning, I went out climbing, and I had a very strenuous week last week, both mentally, at the gym, emotionally. It was just a lot. And then this week has been a lot of catch up. I've been sleeping a lot. My gym days have looked a lot like mobility flows and light weights instead of heavy weightlifting and intensity and endurance training. That's me listening to my body. On Friday, I showed up for myself by taking the entire day off, even though I had so much I needed to get done on Friday that it was just absurd. I mean, I could not afford a day off, but I took it anyway because sloppy work is not going to be good. I'm going to redo that work anyway. Might as well just screw it, right? I focused on other things. I did a breathwork practice instead of showing up and doing, my quick dumbbell routine that I do in my garage on Fridays, So then Saturday I had to work because I took Friday off. And today is Sunday. I'm having to work because I took Friday off. And I've got a busy week. And I also wanted to go climb because it's very important for me to go outside. And so when I show up to go outside, and when I woke up in the morning, I knew that my body was exhausted and it still needed a little bit more rest. And it's a little frustrating when your body needs that much rest, right? It's really frustrating, especially when you're a doer like me. I'm like, let's go, let's get it, right? So today, instead of skipping my climb day, I chose to still wake up early. I chose to make myself a nutritious breakfast and make sure to bring plenty of water. And when I got to the base of the climb, or to the base of the approach, where we were going to ascend about 500 to 1,000 feet of elevation gain to get to where we were climbing outside, I told my climbing partner, I said, I'm going to go at my own pace. So if you want to go ahead of me and get there quickly, that's fine, or you can stay behind me and I can keep our pace. But my body's feeling really heavy, my body's feeling very exhausted, and I want to get up there and I want to do the thing, but I'm not going to push myself to get up there quickly. Because I need to make sure that I'm listening to what's going on. 15 steps into the hike, my calf's cramping, my right hamstring's giving out. I'm like, okay, we check in. We show compassion. And we say, okay, am I not strong enough today for this movement? No, that's not the case. I'm just tired. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to eat a little bit more protein. I got a protein bar. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to drink some more water. And I'm going to focus on my breath. And then I'm going to keep moving forward and make it to the end of the climb and have a great morning and then come home and get more work done. And here I am recording this video for you guys. And so there is that tenet, that principle of flexibility. There's also that principle of utilizing our tools. So when I say intuitive movement method, movement is not the only thing that is in question here, right? Movement is not the only thing that we are intuiting. We are also intuiting our diet, our caloric intake, how much caloric outtake we have had, how much calories are we burning, right? How are we breathing? What's our immune system feeling? Where's our nervous system? So checking in on all of those fronts to ensure our best performance and our safety, both physically and mentally and spiritually and emotionally. So the last principle of intuitive movement is that it is holistic practice. And sometimes your intuitive movement practice is going to look like talk therapy and your favorite food, your meal, your comfort meal that you need. Sometimes your intuitive movement practice is going to look like, well, today was a rest day, but I am feeling so charged and so hyped up that I am going to go run a mile as fast as I can. Or I'm going to go ecstatic dance. Or I'm going to go try and hit my PR on my squat. Because I have the energy to do that, even though it was a rest day. Because I'm feeling fueled and I'm feeling jazzed about it, right? All of this communication happens within the body. And thus, intuitive movement is cornerstone to the practice of embodiment. Because as we practice our intuition and intuiting how we are going to show up for our movement practice, we are practicing embodiment. We are practicing listening to our bodies. And that's crucial. So how does this help with people that have chronic pain? It is incredibly important for people that have chronic pain to understand where their pain is coming from, why their pain exists, what kind of pain it is, etc. That's in another video. Intuitive movement is helpful for people that have chronic pain because it gives you the permission to listen to that pain. It gives you permission to listen to your body. It gives you permission to listen to your pleasure, right? And it gives you permission to change pain into pleasure and maybe something that's pleasureful might not be serving you. Changing pleasure into pain, right? If it doesn't serve us, but normally it brings us joy, what's that really doing for us, right? Maybe that's just us trying to hold on or grasp something that's not working anymore. Let go of it. We don't need it, right? So when it comes to managing your chronic pain, it's very important that you're recognizing the narrative that's going on, right? Because something that's happening up here is not necessarily what's going on down here. And so thus, again, intuitive movement with the flexibility, the holisticness, and all of the tools that it gives us allows us the permission to check in, see where we're at, honor our pain, give it grace, and let it go. Knowing that maybe today is not the day that we hit that PR, but tomorrow might be. Knowing that if we rest today, tomorrow we're going to get it. We're going to hit that goal. Knowing that by continuing strengthening throughout the weeks and staying consistent and showing up in this practice of intuitive movement and staying with our routine, even when we need to shift and stay flexible, right? There's a consistency and there's a flexibility. And how do those things balance and flow within and without each other? Knowing that this is going to work for you and believing it within yourself, first and foremost. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions about any of that, please drop them in the Facebook group. I would love to answer questions. I'd love to get a group discussion going about what's working and what's not working. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching.